Cock and balls. All right.
So,
should we do it? All right. Welcome to Quit or Continue Pub News, the show where we all sit around every couple of weeks and discuss the latest happenings in the world of video games.
Yes.
That was supposed to be in the Futurama voice. It didn't go quite right. Anyway, should we get cracking? Are we going to introduce ourselves or should we just head straight in? It's the usual people.
Yeah.
We
haven't recruited anybody new.
It's the usual people.
There's not like Al Qaeda. We're not like created a new cell or something. Actually, that's a bit distasteful.
Just to clarify, we are not like Al Qaeda in any way, shape, or form.
We have no similarities or affinity to Al Qaeda.
And nowhere near as many followers either. So that's
No,
It's true.
lamentably.
Unless there's loads that we don't know about in like little cells. Yeah.
it's true.
All right. So, does anyone have any personal news to share before?
I keep getting an itching, burning sensation, Mike. Can you help with that? Personal news. Why do they want to know that?
I just wanted to welcome people in. Bring it out.
Hello, everybody.
I wanted to humanise ourselves to the listeners.
Welcome to the most professional podcast you will ever hear.
All right, let's get to it. So, PlayStation Spring Fever kind of sounds like what you've got that makes you itch.
Oh, wait a minute. It's between my toes. It's worrying.
So, so this is a collection of, indie games seems like a bit of a sort of old term for these games now, but anyway, cheaper games that are on the PlayStation Store won't see physical release, I suppose. So we have Helldivers, Hotline Miami 2, Jamestown, Metal Slug 3, Axiom Verge, Bastion, Titan Souls, and Shovel Knight. So who's excited for what, and are we thinking...
I think it's a pretty good lineup,
Yeah,
personally.
yeah,
I think it's
great.
really good. I mean, it's like Shovel Knight, great. I mean, Hotline Miami 2, really interesting to see that. I mean, I think you were talking about Titan Souls, looks pretty interesting.
Yeah, so I've watched YouTube videos of it, and it looks like Shadow of the Colossus meets Zelda, which I think is probably what everyone says about it. But it looks cool.
That's not a bad thing.
No,
Yeah.
it looks very interesting. That's the thing with all these games, they're pushing the boundaries. I mean, we've just had The Order come out, and it's just so...
Yeah, that's done very well.
To be honest though, it's not a terrible game, but it's just a bit plodding.
Do you know what, actually? I was in a shop yesterday, and you can always tell when a game's short because it came out a couple of weeks ago, a week ago. There's already a load of pre-owned copies. People have obviously gone, played it, and wanged it straight back in.
Do you know what though? I actually see that myself as a benefit because I kind of think, well, I'm not desperate to play it right now. Hold off a couple of months, and I'm going to get that for 20 quid.
Yeah,
and it's probably going to be really good.
I wouldn't even pay
game.
20 quid for that. I reckon that's a 50.
Oh, that's a classic.
It's a classic Lachlan price.
Here we Except pay no more than a £5 for this game.
Yeah,
Well, no, but also you've got to think of depreciation costs. You pay it 20 quid, take it back, you probably still get 10, 15 quid for it. You're not really paying 20 quid for it.
I mean, it's only got a few miles on the clock. One careful owner. But I think these games. I mean, you're right. These they call them indie games
They're
now.
doing
but
something different. It's games that are kind of brave enough to push beyond the Gears of War formula, which is exactly what The Order is. At least these things, they're all trying something a bit different, or they're approaching existing genres in a slightly different way.
Yeah, I just think there's a really interesting point on the the indie game idea and all that kind of stuff. Is that I think a lot of complaints that are coming out of these AAA games at the moment. Anyway, I mean, bar the fact that they tend to be buggy as fuck anyway. But they tend to be there's nothing new happening. And that's such a complaint.
And it's because publishers aren't willing to take that risk anymore, because they know, okay, Assassin's Creed, I know that 10 million people are going to rush out and buy that in the first couple of weeks, months of sale.
Also, all these AAA games just becoming the same game. They're collectathons. How many games have had bloody towers in them this year? You've got to climb.
This is just because you don't like Shadow of Mordor, isn't it, Jack?
Yeah, well, we'll get to that next time. But they're all really generic. But one of the games that sticks out to me is Metal Slug 3.
Well, that's an old game. That goes back to Neo Geo days, isn't it?
Is that a remaster or what? Because
it must be. I must admit, I've not looked into everyone in immense detail, but it must be. Because I don't think that's a new game, is it, by any shape or form? So
I'm really looking forward myself to Helldivers. Actually, I really want to give that a go. And to be honest, it's probably going to be the one that's going to be the most hyped out of that lot. I noticed they were plugging Helldivers a fair bit.
Player co-op.
Well, I mean, there's 4 of us guys.
Wow.
I think we should
Wait a minute.
co-op that.
Let's ask the internet, Dave. Internet, do you want to see that?
Well, we can do all these. I mean, yeah, we can play each of these, or we can do a massive quit or continue one time and go through all of them in turn or something. For me, Shovel Knight, I've been waiting for that to come on the Vita for ages, just because I couldn't be asked to buy it on a Nintendo console, because I never plugged my Wii in, I never plugged my bloody DS in anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting that on the Vita, just being able to just play it on the train going into work and stuff.
I think it's a really good lineup. I think it just shows you, doesn't it, how Sony just seems to have done this better than Microsoft as well. It's got these indie developers kind of so it's in such a good position, and they're producing
like a conveyor belt these days. They've got,
and there's always good stuff to play. It's like, and I think I'm definitely want to play Hotline Miami 2.
Yeah, that looks brilliant.
It looks balls out crazy. And it's as I understand, it's reviewed quite well. So that looks really good. And look, I mean, from here, $15. So it's going to be like 10 or something?
Yeah,
11
in
quid?
theory.
Which is like absolutely brilliant, isn't it? For 10 quid for just, you probably bash through it in a few days, but that's great. That's great value. Why would you buy like 50 quid box products anymore? I just don't see the point.
Yeah, totally. Like Bastion's decent. Obviously that came out in a similar kind of promotion that Microsoft did a while back on Xbox 360 when they used to do their Summer of Arcade things. That's been around the block a bit, but it is a good game. It kind of came out at a weird time where a lot of people didn't pick it up, and certainly not on PlayStation consoles, so that'd be an interesting one to just go back to and see if it's aged all right.
I don't know anything about Jamestown.
It's
a top-down.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, it's like a top-down kind of. I can't. What's the name? I'm running out of words.
It's
on
like
a podcast.
it's a vertical shoot 'em up kind of.
It's an old-fashioned shooter.
call,
like a bullet
like
hell.
Axley. Remember Axley? It's just come
Yeah,
out
yeah.
on Wii again, actually, but yeah, it's like that.
a bullet hell kind of shooter.
Yeah, exactly.
I played it on PC a while ago. It's all right. I'm not excited about it, but it's fine,
Axiom Verge looks cool. I mean, that's kind of like a Metroidvania in a weird 8-bit sort of paint job to it, and it's been developed by just one guy, which is... I'm always impressed by that kind of stuff, so I always wish I was doing that myself.
Have they gone for a kind of a St. Patrick's Day vibe? It's got like a 4-leaf clover on it.
Really odd.
But it starts on the 3rd of March. I suppose one game comes out. 17th is Patrick's Day, isn't it? St. Patrick's Day.
Sure.
So these are all games that are good to be played drunk, or
With a pint of Guinness in your hand.
kind of get us in a big hat.
Alright, shall we move on to the
that
next?
slightly xenophobic note. Let's go.
Let's talk about Valve. So,
Let's talk about Valve, baby.
it doesn't even work. It doesn't even sound like it. So they've announced they're working on like a VR headset, a bit like Oculus. Then they're going to be showing it off next week, which begs the question: what are they going to be showing it off with?
Nothing. So they don't make games anymore, do they?
Yeah.
It's gonna be a bloody VR headset, and when you're wearing it, you can wear virtual hats, and that'll be it.
Oh, that would be great. I'd love that.
So it says this is the press release. Steam is bringing the best games and user-generated content to exciting new destinations.
Content
Yeah,
hats.
At GDC 2015, we'll be giving demos of the refined Steam controller, which is that weird thing with like the dippy controls, new living room devices, and a previously unannounced Steam VR hardware system. So if you read that, it does say we will be giving demos of the Steam VR hardware system. They must have something that works with the Steam VR hardware system.
Well, I assume they have. I mean, otherwise it is just going to be put the headset on and imagine with your imagination.
So, unless they're going to go, okay, here's Elite Dangerous running. Like we've already seen that running with Oculus and things. It doesn't matter, I've seen that before. I want them to. Obviously, I want Portal or Half-Life 3. Portal 3 or Half-Life 3.
Well, we all want Half-Life 3. I mean, like, I've kind of gone beyond this with this game now. I'm actually annoyed with it now that it's not here and I've not played it already. Why haven't I played it
This might
already?
be what they've been waiting for, though. This might have been in development for 5 years. And they've been building it all.
I hope it is. But apparently they say it's more powerful than the Crescent Bay, the Oculus one, and it's got better hardware. But I don't know, like, I just think with the VR stuff, I think it's really exciting, but I think it's such a specific way of playing, isn't it? You have to be in such a mood for it. Like I mean, like you play with headphones, don't you? But most of the time, I don't necessarily always want to play with headphones on, and it's like you're basically locking off all your senses, And I don't know whether that's the kind of everyday gaming experience. I think it's kind of like a one-off.
Certainly if you've got a wife and kids or whatever, it's pretty freaky for thinking that your kids are going to walk into the room and dad's there with his VR headset on.
It's going to be like equivalent to being caught wanking, isn't it, really?
Well, there also is I saw a demo, what was it for? Some kind of racing game where they talk about multiplayer racing, and it goes through this history of multiplayer. And it starts off with like what two-player used to be, and it'd be your mate next to you whilst you're playing two-player, all that kind of stuff. Four-player would be down the arcades, and there's four of you playing this game. And now 64-player, and it's one person at a TV. And it's all this kind of stuff now that gaming and just all this kind of stuff just absolutely singles you out nowadays to become on your own. And you know, and I think I know they're pushing everything's pushing multiplayer, never multiplayer to the point where you're actually next to someone or there's a sort of social aspect to it.
I mean, that's where so Nintendo always get local co-op and sort of couch co-op down, don't they? So they're really good at it.
So Smash Brothers now is like, I think there's 8 of you can sit next to each other and play, although I've not got 8 friends who would want to play.
Also have that many controllers either.
I don't have that either.
But it's a good point though, because if you get a multiplayer game these days, chances are you can't play it split screen. So what you need is another person with the same console playing it somewhere else over the internet. When not everyone's got that. You just want to play with the person sitting next to you.
Exactly.
The older I get, the harder it is to actually find a time that I can say, right, I know I'm going to be on the console from this time to this time, and then maybe come to you guys and go, you also going to be free? And you can literally guarantee that none of you will be.
Yeah, the thing is, it was different when I was in my early 20s. It was quite easy because I pretty much knew my mates were just online.
Yeah.
Pretty much all the time. Yeah. So you can guarantee you at least had one other mate. I had an Xbox 360 at the time, and I'd always get on Halo, and there'd be one of my friends on Halo, and we'd do all that kind of stuff, and that was great. But I don't know. Now I just it's so rare that I've got someone else online at the same time playing the same game. Like you've got to then communicate. Hey, get on this game because there's so much stuff out there now to play. I don't know. So I just kind of think VR. VR is cool, but whether it's something that's really going to take off, I don't know, I'm very sceptical about it.
One thing about VR for me is you are wide open to being molested, aren't you? You know what I mean? Like, if Gary Glitter's near, you are in trouble.
He's not going to be near you anytime soon.
So, I mean, regardless of VR, I think if Gary Glitter's near,
if Gary gets out in 16 years, don't wear a virtual reality headset anywhere near him, because he will molest you, potentially, allegedly. That's not illegal.
I like the way all our news pieces at the moment are ending on Andy with some horrific.
Bringing it all back down.
We basically just end talking about that now because
so far we've got Al Qaeda and Gary Glitter.
So we're talking about nice things like video games where we escape reality, and then you're talking about terrorists and kiddie fiddlers.
It's what we're all thinking.
Yeah.
I'm still predicting.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I am still predicting that Half-Life 3 or Portal 3 will be shown with this hardware.
Please,
Mike, don't do it to yourself.
Please,
at the very
please
most,
it'll
be Left 4 Dead 3, and that'll be it.
I can understand Portal 3 going with VR though.
Portal 3 with VR would be awesome. Yeah.
I don't think Half-Life 3 is that ever going to happen. I mean, what can they do?
We don't think we need to go down that rabbit hole, do we? Really, at the moment, it'll come out on the day that Last Guardian comes out.
Oh yeah, and both of them be a massive disappointment because people are expecting too much.
All right.
So Batman.
Next, Batman. Yeah. So, I mean, I was checking this. So, Batman Arkham Knight has been certified as an 18 in the UK, as an M in America, which is like mature.
Does he get his willy out?
Hey.
Does he get his willy out?
Does he get his willy out? Maybe he does. Maybe he molests Catwoman.
It's he's got some utility balls.
A little strap on his belt.
This is getting a bit weird.
So to put this into context, Batman Arkham City, where he does basically beat people into the dust repeatedly, and most of them probably had horrific injuries, and maybe some of them had internal bleeding and later died. But that was a 16, so we're only talking 2 years more. But that was a 16.
Yeah, it was like a teen in America, isn't it?
But somehow the thing to go up to 18 feels like, especially in the States, it's a big jump. It's where the cut off for a lot of publishers go, okay, we're not having an 18 because we want enough people to buy it. It's like when they make the new Star Wars movie will never be above like a PG or something.
No, not at all.
Even the Batman movie, Dark Knight, was like a PG-13. So to think they're going to go, I don't know what they're going to do with Batman to make it an 18.
But Batman to me doesn't seem like it should be really violent because he's a comic book character who's not. Even the films aren't that violent really. He's just chucking people around.
Yeah.
And no one. No one dies, do they, in Batman?
Depends if there's like any.
Yeah,
I bet it'd be because.
he never kills anybody that we know about.
But it depends if there's like
That we
some
know
torture.
about, yeah, behind the scenes.
That has been
He's
covered
given
in the
out for
game.
the good old working over.
There are comics that aren't written yet where he just goes around murdering people, but they don't exist yet.
The other thing, like in terms of games and stuff like that, okay, for films they want to keep a low rating to sell more, or get more people in the cinemas. But for games, I almost feel like having a higher rating, certainly nowadays, might get more people into the game rather than push people away.
But would you buy like an 18 game for your kid when said child 8 reaches the age of 12, say?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. Well, the thing is, I was playing games like.
It was pre-owned.
yeah. For mine, it's massive, really cheap and out of date. No, but I was playing like 18s at the age of. Like,
Yeah, but what were they?
Yeah, but they were Super Nintendo games.
Yeah, exactly. They weren't. In terms of realism, they weren't.
No, they weren't the same realism. But I don't think. Again, I don't think the realism is that much of an issue. I don't think that's the problem with games. I think GTA is an interesting one because GTA. I think we talked about it on the podcast about it's much comparing to South Park. It's much more disgusting to see someone who is like waterboarding someone in that tone, and that I've got a bit more of an issue with, which is a bit more understandable. So I'd have a bit more concern about that. But I don't know, most 18s where it's just literally you shoot someone and their head explodes, that actually really doesn't bother me that much because I kind of think in gaming especially there's not like a build up of tension in the same way there is in a film which actually has a bit more of an emotional impact on you, whereas a game
You are the person though in the game,
Yeah,
so
but
you're doing those acts.
yeah, but I really don't think I've never thought that being the person in the video game is going to instantly give you this kind of idea that you can then do it in real life.
But
I've never thought that.
Well, that's true. Yeah, I mean, you'd have to be particularly suggestionable to be that person.
And also look at things like, I know it's not realistic, but look at when Mortal Kombat first came out for the Master System.
Mega Drive.
No, it was on the Master System. Yeah. Wait, which was the one before Mega Drive?
Yeah, it was the Master System.
Yeah, I promise you.
I don't remember it coming out on the Master System.
Yeah, the first one came out Master System. But you could like rip off someone's head and see their spinal cord and all that kind of stuff. And it was, I mean, you've got to bear in mind that was graphic back then. I mean, it was really graphic. And the comparison isn't really any different nowadays, just because, I don't know, someone's face looks a little bit more like a real person's face on a game.
But as Andy was just describing, he can go in Grand Theft Auto, go and get a hooker, and then shoot her afterwards. I mean, that is a bit different than.
Well, no, that's different. But then I don't think that necessarily that's going to have an impact. But yeah, and he's done that, but he's not going to do that in real life. And I really don't think. Letting a
Very
child,
almost possibly no.
I really don't think letting a child play a game is going to necessarily make them do that in real life. I mean, but in terms of the the age rating thing, I do think that's going to. I remember being a kid being more enticed by the idea of playing an 18 game than playing a
Definitely, but I mean they've said that they were surprised by the rating, but they've said, to be fair to them, Rocksteady, they've said that we didn't want to water down the story. We told it how we wanted to tell it, and it got the rating that it deserved. And like, actually, do you know what? That's great. I think. Obviously, they're going to lose some people, but
the whole of Australia probably.
The whole of Australia.
I doubt Germany.
Yeah. They should just do that, the censorship like on South Park. You can't see this guy, I'm afraid.
Replace all the guns with walkie-talkies.
Oh my god, Batman's been alienly probed. But I think that what it'll probably be is it won't be the violence, it won't be all that. There'll be something in there which is like a torture scene.
It'll be Joker or the Arkham Knight, whoever that may be. Well, because it's not been confirmed that Joker's in it, but you got to assume he probably will be in it. So like, it's probably he's doing something particularly nasty. I don't think it'll be Batman who's doing the 18 rated thing.
No, there'll be a torture scene in it, or there'll be something which is just like. Kind of like it feels kind of menacing, basically. That's what they always say.
Yeah.
There won't be any sex in it, I would have thought, but
Will they be working toilets?
I sure as hell hope so.
Jack will be happy.
A sex scene in Batman would just be bloody weird.
Sex scene on a working toilet.
There it is. Game of the year. Shut everything down.
Do they do in the Batman comics? Did they do sex scenes? I've read a few, but I've never read any.
I've never seen one.
God knows you've been looking for them.
Yeah, I've scoured.
I suppose when you've got those characters, you can't suddenly have them like naked, can you? They'd be a bit weird.
Well, the thing is,
if
if you take Batman out of the Batsuit, he's not Batman, is he? He's just a bloke with his.
It's Bruce
with his
Wayne,
dick
isn't
out.
it?
What if he leaves the hat on?
What the little the ears?
He's got the Steam VR. He's just like
Did you see
swapping his hats.
what was that film? Oh my god, I want to know it now. It had all the old superheroes. It was really dark.
Oh, Watchmen.
Watchmen. Yeah, there was a sex scene in Watchmen, and that was like.
Well, there was a sex scene. There was also a rape
There was
scene.
all sorts of horrible scenes.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a really dark thing.
But yeah, the sex scene, I always think, because it was between the guy that was basically the guy that looked a bit like Batman.
Oh yeah, the comedian.
No, it was the Hawkman guy.
Oh,
I can't
Hawkman,
remember what he was called now. But.
Yeah, I know you. But I think it bodes well for the game. I think it shows that pulled no punches. I'm gonna fucking play the shit.
I think we're all
going
going to buy it, aren't we? I was more wondering about, like, if would you buy it for you? Yeah. Anyway.
I haven't got any children.
Let's wrap
right,
up.
So,
Let's wrap.
it's gonna be tricky.
So,
I can't go down the playground. We know.
Would you buy it for someone else's kid?
I'm not allowed.
Maybe they'd lift that restraining order.
All right. To finish, this is a ridiculous story. Thank you for Dave for highlighting this one to us.
I just noticed it on the side on Facebook today. I was like,
it, Dave.
okay, so this is a story about Dying Light. Have released a collector's edition, my Apocalypse collector's edition, that's coming in at just about £250,000 by the looks of things. But
There's
within
only one
that,
in the world. One. There's only.
is there only one? I didn't notice that. I mean, within that, you do get. Well, I noticed one of the things they were really advertising was the adult-sized diapers. Obviously, I read the American version, the adult-sized nappies that come along with it. I'd imagine they're the lower-priced things that you get. You also get night vision goggles. What was the big one? Is the shack. You get a shack.
You get a log cabin.
That basically, if you donated £100 to a third world country, they will build to actually house a family. But for £250,000, you can get one with Dying Light probably plastered all over it. Sorry.
Zombie-proofed as well.
Zombie-proofed.
I don't know how it's
bullshit. There's nothing zombie-proofed. They don't know what zombies can get in. You do get an Xbox One console though, so I don't know if that's used as a weapon.
250 grand.
Do you know what you don't get? Look at this list of stuff. You don't get the DLC, do you? You gotta pay extra for that.
Typical. Let's just run through the list. Okay, so you get a Dying Light zombie comb by Tiger Lob Cabins, whoever they are. I'm sure they're getting a lot of publicity.
Home. Certainly it's a comb.
A zombie
Home.
What,
Yeah,
where
zombie a home for
zombies,
zombies.
like a care home.
You get zombie avoidance parkour, which surely, like, I don't understand.
It's lessons, by the way, lessons.
Yeah, lessons, parkour lessons. You get a match with the developers of the game where you win.
Like they throw the game for you.
Yeah.
So you can brag to your friends how leaked you are. Oh my god, yeah, I know what it means.
But it's written
I choked up when I was saying it. 'Cause, yeah. God, that's terrible.
I was on a train the other day with these two young people, and they were tweeting, and then they made a joke about an older person about how they tweet, like as if it was someone who was like really inept and couldn't tweet properly because they weren't with it. I felt very old.
Did you hit them with your cane?
I said I don't know what Twitter is to them and what.
Trip to Poland to
Yeah,
Techland to meet the dev team and party with Steve the zombie consultant.
Hey.
Do you know what I was thinking? Like, as soon as I saw that trip to Poland, that's cool. You could probably just pay that very cheaply yourself. But to go around see the dev team, I mean, if anyone's ever met a dev team, no offence to dev teams, but it's not like going to be the most charismatic of trips, is it? I'm not expecting a party style.
I don't know what Steve the zombie consultant's credentials are. But personally, I find that a little bit of a stretch that he is a zombie consultant.
Basically, that just means he's watched every zombie film, basically.
Yeah, well,
that's all that means.
Ditto, Steve. I'm not putting myself out there as a consultant yet, but I will do. Your face skinned onto a Night Hunter character model.
It means they literally take your face
Yeah,
off, like in Face Off.
with John Travolta and Nicolas Cage. Dying Light branded night vision goggles for perverts. And adult diapers for the night portion of the game.
That's for when you poo yourself because it's scary.
Useful if you have an elderly parent.
Do you know what though? Other things you can get for £250,000. I saw on some gadget site that you can get Madame Tussauds to make a waxworks of you
Oh, no, that
for £250,000.
That's pretty cool.
Now I think that's money well spent.
Yeah.
However, this Dying Light deal, I wouldn't go for it.
I would totally get one of those and sit it in my office chair and then just take a week off work.
Yeah. Be like, oh, Jack's working really hard this week.
Every now and again, it just grumbles a bit under its.
Yes, I shall definitely do that for you very quickly. You get a human-sized volatile figurine, don't know what that means, to use as a deterrent on human raiders.
No, so it's like a giant-sized, well, a human-sized zombie statue.
So is that like one of those statues that you have sex with? Or?
No, that's just what you have.
Oh, right.
No,
well, what's the point in that then?
Because it's to ward off people who are breaking into your house because it thinks you've got a zombie.
That
in
is
it.
ridiculous. If
Yeah,
I took $50,000, I would not.
No, it's not dollars. This is pounds.
What? What?
Yeah, no, dollars. It was like what, 350,000.
I don't think they get it in America. It's just a UK thing.
That is not $350,000
No,
worth of stuff.
Yeah, it's just a
Well,
UK
no, because the site I saw it on was American.
Yeah, but all they've done is because what it is, because the Dying Light box game took longer to come out in England, I think, than it did in America or something. So to promote it, they've made us talk about it by doing something this ridiculous.
The biggest problem about this as well is it looks such a dreary, generic game as well, doesn't it? Like you're getting a massive collector's edition of not like, you know, kind of The Last of Us or like a amazing game, but just kind of a middle of the roader basically.
To be fair, it's getting reasonable right now. So we've not played. Maybe we should play it probably.
Well, the thing is, I'd like to give it a go, but I know what you mean though. It's not like the game that people are going to be talking about.
If I spend £250,000, I want it to be the best game ever, not just kind of a
Whatever. All right, cool. That was Quit or Continue Pub News. Until next time, take it easy.
Bye.